Hey there, this is Anthony Metivier from magneticmemorymethod.com, and look, I've got a little question that comes to me a lot, which is using video games with the memory palace technique, and it always comes down to really, should you do it? And a lot of people who ask, they're really asking permission. So you have my permission to try it, but let's think this through a little bit before that we go into it. But, congratulations, because people who are asking this question, they're thinking, they want knowledge, they want the actual techniques to work for them. And so asking questions is really, really great. Though a quick tip for you, though, is that you just go and do it. You can do these things. And then you're going to have even more amazing questions because you'll come up upon little issues and things that make your questions much more powerful and interesting. But nonetheless, let's look at this, because if you're going to use a video game as a memory palace, the best thing to do is to think about what kind of game you're going to use. And although I got like this all super busy going on here, there's something that's not super busy about it, and that is that it is a single screen game. And that is a powerful, powerful asset when you're going to use a video game as a memory palace, right? So think about this, and we're going to go into a little bit more detail here, but the point is that you want to make it simple. The whole point of a memory palace is to reduce cognitive overwhelm. And so many people come to the game, they're thinking about mega memory palaces, 5,000 magnetic stations throughout it, entire, Grand Central Station memory palaces. And that's just not really what most people are going to succeed with. Do some people succeed with it? Yes, absolutely. But most of us who want to get the most out of our memory use our environments to remember things, to help learning ease its way into our mind instead of having to struggle. Listen, don't make the memory palace difficult. People give up because they read something and they hear about mega memory palaces and they just think about one memory palace. That's never going to work. You need multiple memory palaces. You need to practice at least 10 before you really get cooking with this technique. And that means creating 10. But you're never going to create 10 if you make them ultra difficult and the size of West Edmonton Mall. You just make it simple, super simple. And when you get really good, you're going to understand the constellation technique. Now, we're not going to get into that right now. It's part of the whole magnetic memory method, but it's just a very, very precise and pristine ability that you develop when you have more experience. And ultimately, you can get that experience real quick. But you've got to start basic, you've got to start small, and you've got to be able to basically look at the Big Dipper and just know that it's the Big Dipper without imposing a spoon on it, Just like, boom, I see it. And see, of course, is always a dangerous word here, because you don't need to see anything in your mind. You just need to be able to essentially, conceptualize things. So if you're listening to this video and you're understanding what I'm saying, then you have the ability to conceptualize. There's no problem there. But you don't want chaos. And so many games create chaos because they're too big. They're too wide-ranging. They are just all over the place, And I'm thinking about first shooter games where the environments are so vast and there's so many things going on that getting a hold of it in your mind can be quite difficult. Now, not for everybody. There's some people who really excel with that. If that's you, awesome. Love to have a chat sometime. But most people, they're really going to find it overwhelming. So one of the problems there is that there's indistinct space, which leads to cognitive overload. So even this looks relatively simple, right? But, where are the natural corners? Where are the things that we can latch onto without having to think about them? Where are they, right? Well, it's just indistinct space. It's much like the outer world. This makes too many choices, and there's too little information to use, because memory techniques rely on using what you already know and attaching that to things that you don't know so that you can know it really easily and quickly. So distinct space, however, it helps with organization. So this spot in the game, right, that's fixed in Donkey Kong. You can just choose that space, and it really doesn't change on level 1 or any of the levels for that matter. Now, I'm not saying that you remember all the other levels. If you're going to use Donkey Kong, just use Donkey Kong, right? Just use level 1. And then know where that spot is. And then it's organized because that's where it is. There's no wiggle room, and it's very distinct on that single screen. And then you've got him, Donkey Kong himself. He's right there. He's always there. And, he moves around. He has a little bit of flexibility, but he has a distinct spot. And so that becomes a magnetic station. That's what magnetic stations are. They are magnetized in place. They do not move. There's no wiggle room. You don't have to think about where they are because that's where they are. So single screen games are very, very powerful for memory palaces. And again, and again, and again, and again, all that you want is to have magnetic stations that are fixed in place and you don't have to think about them. So if you just do a count and you say, okay, this level has 15 barrels, then you got 15 stations, right? Except 15 might be too big of a number and you can't juggle it in your mind. So why not just focus on 4 of them, or whatever number that you choose. I'm not going to dictate what it is, but if you're going to look at a game, choose a single screen game to start with and find the fixed stations that really, really do not require your thought, so that when you make that journey, you just go to the next station with virtually no energy spent in your mind. It's just bang, 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 like that. So either way, if you're going to use a first-person shooter or any game that's super vast, just dive in, explore. The worst that can happen is that it's not working. You analyze what didn't work, and you learn something about how you learn. And then you go back and you find something simpler. And you may use the same game that was too difficult, change your approach, and approach it more simply with fewer stations. Or you might go to just a completely different game and, just keep exploring. There's no reason to ever stop and to not try new things. And I certainly try things that I know or I feel quite confident aren't going to work just to prove myself wrong. And you know what? Sometimes I manage to prove myself wrong and then I learn something. So no matter what, just get in there, because the map is never the territory. You need to be using the techniques in order to learn about them. Dive in. Now, if you'd like some more, I've got a training about creating memory palaces, and you can go to magneticmemorymethod.com/YT. It's totally free, series of videos, and it's not free. The price is your email address, and you will get some emails that encourage you to go through the entire course. And if email isn't your thing, don't worry about it. But if you don't mind that, then by all means, this is a free course. It's helped thousands and thousands of people, and a lot of people really enjoy it. And there's a bit of interactivity as well. It's going to help you increase your speed of learning. And, I also talk about slow learning for maximum retention. So, what does it matter how fast you go if you forget everything? What if you just slow down a little bit and then you retain everything? In everything. And you have a way of measuring that as well. It's pretty exciting. And, this is a lot about getting yourself away from the computer. It's one of the beauties of the memory palace technique, is that you're not using apps and so forth. So I'm a little bit cautious about using video games, but they are an option and you can try them. But the point is to actually take yourself away from the game and have some freedom from digital amnesia. So I don't think that games in themselves are causing us to forget, but certainly a lot of our exposure to digital information, digital experiences, and environments is doing some damage to our brains at some level relative to what that area of development is. And I think memory is one of them. So if you're going to maximize the value of games, do it by actually using the games unassisted by the games. You know what I mean? So you make a memory palace out of the game, and then you practice it away from the game, and then that game is going to become a very, very powerful asset because you can use it in more than one way. It's like any memory palace. A memory palace, a home, is like a game environment anyway, right? We play games with our families. We play the game of being a brother. We play the game of being a son. We play the game of being an uncle or a daughter or an aunt or whatever role that you play. There are multiple games that are played there. And you can leave that game, and as you're walking down the street miles and miles away, you can recreate the environment in which these games are played, and then you can memorize information in your memory palace. It's the most exciting thing in the world, and your mind gets very, very strong by doing these kinds of exercises with it. So games are fine, but learn how to use them when you're not in the game, so to speak. Now, you want to really, really move from this kind of thing where you're in your home and, you got the game all over the place and that sort of stuff. And you want to get more of this, which is perspective. And that's essentially what I'm suggesting, is that when you do try games as memory palaces, when you do try all kinds of different things as memory palaces, you get perspective. And perspective is the most powerful asset you're ever going to have as an advanced learner. So try lots of things and have a laser targeted action plan. And again, if you want some kind of action plan, if you want to learn how to develop one, this 4 free video series is going to help you, and I'd just be absolutely delighted to invite you in. And you know, the thing about having a plan is that you want to be able to measure what you're doing, and so this is a lot of what's going on here. I'm not just teaching you memory techniques, I'm teaching you how to integrate them into your life so that you know what you're doing, you know why you're doing it, and you know how to see what results are coming, and then you know how to optimize those results. So this isn't namby-pamby memory training. This is like memory training that you integrate into your life and you make it part of your process. So definitely, you know, keep that in mind before you sign up, because I don't want you to be disappointed and think, oh, well, this isn't as easy as I thought it would be. It's actually super easy, and it's easier than you can ever imagine, but there are some parts to it. There are some ways to optimize it, and there's no point in getting into it if you're not going to be part of the larger picture, which is total memory mastery. So that's really all that I got to say. I want to thank you for watching this video. Let me know if you have any questions, and in a future video, I'm going to be talking about how to make your bike a memory palace, and I'm probably going to use this location also as a memory palace, and then we'll talk about doubling, tripling, quadrupling, making multiple versions of the same bike and using the memory palace in an interesting way that you might not have thought about before. So if you're not subscribed to this channel, hit that subscribe button for me and press like and all that stuff, because that helps this channel grow, which helps more people reach this information. And, you know, be in touch. Leave your comments below. Tell me what you think, and tell me what you've done with video games or what you intend to do. And be sure to be involved, because when you learn and you talk about what you've learned and you process it in writing, in speech, then you actually remember better what it is that you learned. You know, in school, they always have these exercises and you're like, oh, now I got to write an essay, or now we have to sit and discuss. There's a reason why you do that. It's because it gets you into memory. So if you're an independent learner, don't feel badly if you forget everything that you've learned. Just process it in different medium. So you have the medium here on this channel. You can write down in the description below a little bit about what you think. You can go and talk to other people and tell them a little bit about what you learned, and that will help you remember. It will make you a person of knowledge. Wouldn't that be cool? Be somebody. This is Anthony Metivier from magneticmemorymethod.com. Thanks for watching, and until we speak again, keep yourself magnetic.